Hello science fans, welcome to another week's 7 Minutes of Science, your weekly high-speed rundown of the week's top science stories as far as I'm concerned. I'm your host Eddie Edwards. So, without further ado, let's get 7 minutes on that clock and let's get started. First big story of the week, Monday out of the University of Oxford, they have discovered the ouch centre of the brain. Not the pain centre, specifically the ouch centre. What's the difference, you might ask? Well, fortunately, I'm here to tell you. There are many parts of the brain that register different things to do with pain. Have you been stabbed? Have you been burnt? Whereabouts on the body has this happened? That kind of thing. However, the ouch centre of the brain merely determines how intense the pain is. It's a very interesting sector. Now, I want to tell you two things. One, how they found this out. It's a new type of brain scanning which required people to be in brain scanning tubes for a long, long time while they had pain inflicted on them. They put capsicum powder mixed with water on their legs, followed by burning, followed by a hot service, then a cold service, and they tracked and they found that this centre is there. What's it useful for? Well, imagine you're in a coma, imagine you're a small child, imagine you're an animal. That probably wouldn't work, their brains will work differently, but there's lots of people out there who cannot communicate to us that they are suffering. This news, it gives us a way to see inside their minds, maybe help people who previously we wouldn't have even known were in trouble. Very cool, very awesome, like it. Okay, Tuesday, really huge news. Bertrand Piccard and Andre Broschberg, I knew I was going to get those wrong. They have just completed the world record for the longest flight in a solar plane. 1,468 kilometres from Muscat in Oman to a place I can't pronounce in India, and I'm not even going to try. Anyway, this is a hugely powerful and important flight, but it's not as impressive as what they're actually doing. You see, this flight is one of a number of steps to try and get the first solar circumnavigation of the world. They're stopping for a couple of days to refit the engine, and the motors and everything, and get this up for flight thing, and then they head off again. Now, they're going to have to go across the Pacific at one point during this little jaunt, which is going to take apparently 15 days of continuous flying in a pod no bigger than a phone book. But, of course, Bertrand Piccard, the pilot, very skilled man, and Andre Broschard, you might remember from the Breitling Sea Orbiter, first man to circumnavigate the world by balloon. Very cool, very interesting, early stages of solar flight. We do need a replacement for jet fuel if we want to live in a green and a clean planet. So, next big story, Wednesday. Beavers! I just wanted to shout that. Basically, well, if you don't know about this, wild beavers haven't been seen in the UK for about 500 years, until about a year ago when a family of them turned up in Devon. I'm guessing that's human agency has got them released there. Anyway, it was a real concern that they were on the River Otter and they might have diseases that could infect and kill the otters, and then you'd just have the river 4 or 5 beavers, which doesn't sound as good. Anyway, there was a petition put forward by the Devon Wildlife Trust to not get rid of them. DEFRA listened, they studied the animals, they've taken them in, quarantined them, checked them for disease, checked them for parasites. They are clean, they are free to stay. That is exciting news. An animal that hasn't lived in the UK for 500 years has returned, probably because of human doings, or they got their own flight over from somewhere else, I don't know. More study would have to be done, but rewilding has happened by accident. We got a new, and it's weird you get a new large mammal walking its way into your country, so that's pretty cool. Okay. Thursday, and we get to talk about Ganymede, one of the moons of Jupiter, and the only moon in the solar system to have a magnetosphere, which is where this story gets interesting. Because it has a magnetosphere, it also has an aurora. You can't really see it because it's ultraviolet, but you know what can see ultraviolet? The Hubble. So the Hubble can look at the aura of this planet, moon, Ganymede, and its magnetic field is obviously affected by the magnetic field of Jupiter, its big, large neighbour. But not in the way it should be. You should be getting a wobble in the aurora of about 6 degrees. In fact, they're only getting 2. Well, why is this happening? Well, because a large saltwater ocean inside of Ganymede is also being magnetised by the magnetic field of Jupiter, but that's having the opposite effect and stabilising the magnetic field on Ganymede. So, there's a giant ocean underneath the surface of Ganymede. There'll be a probe being sent there by the European Space Agency called the JUICE probe. Should be getting there in the 2030s. It's going to cost over $1 billion, and the hopes is it's going to scan the thing. But personally, I'd like it to drill through the ice and put a probe down there. But that's just me. Okay. And now on to an incredible story. Friday saw the launch of the African Seed Index. The African Seed Access Index. Really important thing. Okay, most of Africa's food production done by smallholding farmers. People who are growing personally for themselves, but also going to share and sell in a community. Very similar to what was happening in Europe during medieval times, but without the feudal overlord system. Anyway, one of the big barriers to success in this world is access to modern seeds. Seeds constantly change due to genetic engineering or new strains just being developed through breeding. These strains take a very long time to get to smallholding farmers in Africa. And why is that? Well, it's probably the supply chain that's in place. This new system has been launched this year. It's a pilot scheme of 4 countries. They're going to go larger next year, and it's auditing that supply chain, finding where these bottlenecks are, what the problems are, what the issues are. Here's some things out of this. If you live in Kenya, it can take you up to 3 years to get a seed that's come to market, by which time climate could have changed, environment could have changed, things have moved on. So they're really important, and it's solving a really big issue that's a big problem that a lot of us don't really think about. I've not posted any extra links on that story below. I've just posted loads of links to other people who are working in that area, so hopefully you can have a look at that. And finally, have you ever heard of horizontal gene transfer? Because you're about to. Basically, it's the theory that instead of inheriting all of our genes, we got some genes from other things floating around in the same type of soup as us. We know it happens in bacteria. That's how they can get immune to diseases so incredibly quickly. And we also know it happens in nematode words and some other creatures. However, do you know it happened in you? It did. It happened in people. They found a bunch of genes inside people and a bunch of other animals that seem to could be the result of this horizontal gene transfer, or HGT. The reason this hadn't been seen before is because they were looking specifically for bacterial DNA. Reckon we might have got the DNA from funguses. This happens among like parasitical creatures that have this kind of relationship, so it's not that massively unusual, but still pretty weird that some of the like your blood group, that's one of the weird ones. You probably got your blood group from mushroom DNA, which is a little bit crazy. Okay, and finally, you know that probe that China landed on the moon that you forgot about until I literally just mentioned it? Yeah, that thing has some data for us. Who knew? Anyway, it sent radar, basically did the thing that the Geophys did in Time Team, sent some radar waves down into the surface of the moon to go, yo, moon, what up? What up with yo, moon? And the moon replied, layers, many layers. The top ones seem to be dust, the lower ones seem to be from multiple lava flows. Crazily enough, they don't match up with other areas, which means that the other areas have got different layers, which means that the moon has an incredibly storied and interesting geological past. I'm just bringing forward the idea here that if you're going to make a movie set in the past with dinosaurs in it, the moon should probably be on fire and covered in lava, which is awesome and would make your movie better. Thank you. Why hasn't Michael Bay done that yet? Anyway, we're done. Thank you very much for watching this week's 7 Minutes of Science. I hope you enjoyed the show. I, as always, enjoyed making it. Please give us a like. Give us a subscribe if you haven't already. Or, I don't know, hit the comment button. Tell me that you love me. Tell me that you hate me. I don't care. Just give us a comment. And thank you very, very much for your time. Good luck in your endeavours. If your endeavours be good. And goodbye.